Check, check. Can everyone hear me all right? I kind of yell anyways, so is that too loud? And if I'm doing that, I think that's about as high as I'm getting. All right, sweet. I got thumbs up. Hey, welcome to B-Sides, right? 2019 Augusta, right? This is a pretty awesome event. Give it up for these guys. These guys are doing awesome. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you. My COO of Rendition InfoSec, he's actually presenting right now as well. And it was a competition to see how many people we can get in mine versus his. So I appreciate you coming to mine and not his. I appreciate that. So, this is Breaking into Banks Like a Boss 2.0. Did anybody come to my first one last year? Okay, sweet. Awesome. Wow, thank you guys. So it got presented last year here in Augusta, and then I kind of did it at a couple other B-sides kind of locally, and then everyone loved it, and so I decided to kind of extend it to a 2.0. We will recap for all the newbies that didn't go through the first one, so let's get into it. So I am Brice Self. That's my Twitter handle up there, 2 underscores at BSelfless. I know it's a weird last name. I didn't pick it, so, it is what it is. So I am our physical pen test lead at Rendition InfoSec. I used to be in the Navy, where I did some cool stuff, and then I did some 3-letter agency stuff and learned even more cool stuff. And I say cool because I can't tell you what it was, but it was pretty cool, right? And basically what it translates into is I got to do all this cool training and whatever that turned me into a social engineer and physical pen tester, right? And now I get paid to do that, so legally, right? So it's pretty cool. And then whenever I'm not doing, computer stuff, I'm camping and with my wife and riding motorcycles and then breaking into your office and looking at your fingernail clippings in your desk that you keep there. That's a true story. All right, so Rendition InfoSec, you've probably seen us. You probably have also seen this ambulance outside. If you haven't, it's out back. It's awesome. It's like a rolling CTF. We got a booth out there. We do digital forensics incident response, pen testing, audit assessments, training. We have a 24/7 security operations center here in Augusta. This is our headquarters, and then we got guys all over the place. All right, so what we're going to talk about, we're going to do the 1.0 recap. We're going to talk about kind of what's been happening since last year, this whole year when I've been doing 1.0, and obviously things have changed and adapted. I haven't changed the talk until now. What has changed my ways, and then kind of lessons learned, frequently asked questions, and then how to stop me once again. All right, so the recap. So physical pen testing, what are we doing? We are literally just breaking into a building. My clients, they give me an address. They say, Brice, I need you to break into our building in downtown Chicago or downtown New York or whatever it is, this huge skyscraper. They just give me an address, and I basically start on my computer looking into them all the way into where a couple days later I'm out on that site. I'm up in your server room putting a payload on your server. I'm up in your CEO's office taking a picture of his credit card that he left in there or stealing his password that he wrote down or whatever it is. Again, another true story there. All right. So why is it important? There's a wives' tale that there's a CTF, right? We have a couple CTFs going on. We have one at Rendition. If you haven't done it yet, it's pretty awesome. Check it out. But basically, you have 2 teams. You have Team A, Team B, and the moderator says, hey, guys, we have the server right here. All you have to do is get complete ownership of the data on the server. And this might sound very similar to people that have heard this talk before. So basically, we have this server. You just have to gain access to the data, right? So Team A starts hacking away. Where are my hackers at? My pen testers? My guys on the keys? Where are you guys at? All right, a couple guys? Sweet. So you guys start hacking away, port scan, vulnerability scan, seeing what you guys can come up with, right? Find out what's vulnerable, what you can exploit. Team B just kind of sits back and they go, he just said we just have to own the data, right? We just have to take complete control. All right, so they get up and they walk over and they unplug the server and they drag it over to their table. And guess what? Guess who has the data now? It's not Team A anymore. Good luck trying to scan the port that's not there. You can't even connect to it, right? So I think it's one of the most overlooked pieces of our industry of cybersecurity is physical. because we spend so much time trying to lock down our ports, protocols, all these different things, and what does it matter if the hinge on your server room is busted and anybody can get in there? All right, so I broke this down into kind of four pieces here, 4 phases. The reason I developed the first talk was because I heard a lot of, hey, this is how you pick a lock, and this is how you break into this door, and all the stuff whenever you get into the building, and that's all great. But how do you actually get into the building? What leads up to actually physically going to that door? Why did you go to that door? Why did you talk to the person who you did? Why did you say what you said? Why did you wear what you wore, right? So I broke this down. So first is observation. It's just kind of passive. I get a cup of coffee. I look at your building from afar. I do some OSINT online, open source intelligence. I'm looking through Google Street View, maps, right? I'm looking at your building. I'm looking who's coming in, who's coming out, that kind of thing, right? I start building a pattern of life. Then I do a little bit of recon. So recon, I get a little bit more active. I'm not really trying to get into your building at this point, but I'm going to start dumpster diving, right? And maybe I'm dumpster diving to look for data, right, in your trash can. But actually, what I'm doing is I'm actually dumpster diving right in front of this camera to see if anybody's actually looking at it. And if someone's actually looking at it, how long is it going to take them to come out and catch me, right? Because maybe I'm just a homeless guy just looking through your trash, right? Because that's what they do. And I'm just playing that part. I'm just in a role. And I'm looking through your trash. And then I see the camera, and I'm doing that, and it takes them 10 minutes to come out. Okay, well, I know that it takes them at least 10 minutes to look at that camera and then come out to me. Maybe they don't come out at all. So now I know that they're not looking at their cameras, right? So I start looking at those processes and those procedures. I go in as a delivery guy. And I say, hey, I have flowers for so-and-so, and then they look up in their directory if they have one, and then they call their desk number. Okay, I know they don't have cell phone numbers. Maybe I want to give them a cell phone number. Anybody remember that from my first talk? Maybe I want to give them a cell phone number, right? Maybe that cell phone number calls back to rendition, right? And then my guy on the other line says, oh, yeah, that's me. You can just go ahead and let them in. Little spoiler there. All right, third phase is preparation, right? So now I'm going to start pretending. I'm going to start getting that role going. I'm going to figure out if I want to go in as a AT&T contractor, right? And then I have all this cool paperwork, and I look like I'm a professional, and I have cable equipment. And I'm pretending like I'm going to be this person. Obviously, I know a little bit about networking, I hope, if I'm doing this job working for my company, right? So at least I can talk the talk of a little bit of networking, right? And I'm going to start working that in and practicing that. And then I'm going to execute. I'm going to go into the building at a certain time because I know the security guard is a little bit lax. And then I'm going to talk to him, and then I'm going to provide certain documents. And then that's how I'm going to get in, right? He's going to let me in, give me a badge maybe. That'd be awesome, right? All right, so how's it been going since last year? So Brice, you talk about this like foolproof plan. You know, you get dressed up as a contractor. Does it actually work? It does work, and it's still been working, right? I'm still batting 1,000. I haven't came across a client yet where they told me to break in their building, and I haven't yet, okay? That being said, some things have changed, right? So we had a client that basically I broke into their building pretty bad, right? They were really upset with me. They were happy because what we're doing is we're securing their building, right? We're securing their network, which is data that, you guys might be stakeholders of this company, right? And it's helping you guys out too, all right? So obviously, but they're mad though, right? But I'm helping them out. And they said, okay, hey, we fixed everything. I know you picked all the locks coming up all of these floors. We fixed all the locks. We fixed all this stuff. Come back. I said, okay. Well, I come back, and they fixed all the locks, guys. They did. But what they didn't do is they didn't train the front desk security person that there might be unexpected visitors like myself who pretend they're AT&T contractors, and then I give them a fake cell phone number that calls rendition, and then rendition says, yep, go ahead and give him a contractor badge. He's good to go. And they say, okay, cool. And then they give me a badge. So now, all those great locks that you put in that I can't pick anymore because they're pretty good, right? Or it will take me a little bit more time. Now I just have a badge where I can just scan in. And those bypass sensors that you put in, don't need to worry about them because I'm actually badged in. I'm a legit guy now. Yeah, so not good for the home team. But I did get denied, guys. Someone actually told me no, and it didn't go so well. So what did I change? Well, they told me no, and this is great. Like I said, this is great for the client because I get denied, right? This is great for rendition because now our client is actually seeing how important our work is, right? They understand that they want to secure their data better, right? This is great. This is a great win, but not for me. Personally, I don't like to be denied, right? I like to get into the building, okay? Because I'm actually doing my job. So I got to figure out another way in. So that contractor cover that I talked about in phase 1, it didn't really work, all right? So when in doubt, you do the easiest thing possible, and you tailgate, right? So we came in at night as contractors, and I presented all this data, and guys, I threw it on thick. I was like, hey, man, it's an emergency. We have to get up here. You have to give me a badge, please. I don't want to be here either. I want to go watch NFL, insert your favorite NFL team. I want to go watch them play too, please, right? And he's like, I cannot do it. And I said, fine. Came back the next morning and just walked right in. Walked right in past security. During the morning rush, of course, but nobody noticed. Noticed. Words are hard. And just walked right in. So, confusion, persistence, and patience. I'm going to talk about this here in a second. This is key here to really kind of get your way into the door. All right. So I love this quote by old George Bush, George W. This is a great example of confusion, patience, and persistence. Okay, this guy, right, is clearly confused in this statement. Number one, but number two, he is very persistent and tries to finish this guy out. Right, he tries to finish the statement. I love this statement. Right, but you guys get the idea, right? When you read this, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. You know, was it fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? You guys get it, but when he said it and he's all confused and everything like that, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just confusing you, saying, yeah, there's a network thing, and then the other stuff with the thing, and then you got to let me upstairs because, and you're like, dude, I do not care, get out of my face, take this badge, right? That's exactly what I'm doing. He's great at it. George Bush is a genius, and he doesn't even know it. I don't think anybody else knows it either, except for me in this room. But, all right. So when in doubt, confuse them, right? If you get challenged, confuse and deflect. Whenever we tailgated in, we rode the elevator up, just kind of riding up with people that had badges to get into places. And obviously, we just tailgated behind them on these badge access floors. And then one of the employees in this company actually did something that they're supposed to do. They noticed we did not have a badge, and they challenged us. Right? Yeah. Come on, guys. This is awesome, right? Finally, somebody challenges rendition whenever they're walking around without a badge. This is awesome. However, I would consider that a win. If we got in for them, if we got in and then they kicked us out immediately, I would consider that a win for them, right? And I'd be like, tighten up your tailgating at the front, and we're good to go. Yeah, so basically, this lady came up to us and she said, hey, you don't have a badge. Who are you? What are you doing? Right? Oh, there's this person. I can't remember her name. Kimberly. Oh, you mean Kimberly so-and-so? Yeah. Can you take me to her desk? That's who I'm trying to find. Oh, well, she's not even on this floor. She's on the 10th floor. Great. Let's go up to the 10th floor. Take me to Kim's desk. Hey, Kim, there's this guy is here to see you. Kim looks at me and is like, I don't know who this guy is, right? He doesn't have a badge. You good? Yeah, we're cool. My escort, the person who challenged me, walks away, leaves me alone. And then I say, hey, Kim, sorry, I just want to congratulate you on that one thing. She's like, what? I'm like, maybe that wasn't you. Sorry. Walk off, and then that's it. And I'm back in the building. Unescorted. I'm doing whatever I want. Now, as long as I don't run into that same woman, right, that challenged me, I'm good to go, right? And obviously, we're walking around some more and doing what we do and getting all this sensitive data. So I was like, man, they were so close, but didn't happen. So what about persistence and patience? Okay, I go up to another building. I go up to the security. I say, hey, contractor, yada, yada, yada. You guys know the story. They're like, well, we're not going to let you in. I said, well, take me to your supervisor. I keep escalating it, right? Finally, long story short, and when I mean long story short, I sat in the security room for 3 hours. I'm not exaggerating. I come in at like 11 p.m. On purpose, and I don't even get upstairs until about 1:30, right? 2 o'clock, something like that. And basically, I'm just chatting it up with this guy. There's all types of confusion of who we are. It gets to the point where he denies us. He says, hey, whatever you're trying to do, get upstairs. They're not going to let you upstairs. We don't have access. You don't have access. You're not getting upstairs tonight. Come back in the morning. I said, okay. I said, well, what's the number of the people, like, what's the number I have to call to get in, right? He's like, oh, I got you. I was like, yeah, I'll set an appointment up for tomorrow morning. No problem. I get the number. I call them. I walk out of the office. I call them immediately. And I call them so many times, and then I have rendition guys call them so many times to the point where they get so frustrated with us, and they're like, I don't care who you are from AT&T, but this is the last time this is going to happen. I'm going to give you access upstairs. Wow. So we were so persistent and so patient that they got tired of hearing us trying to get access that they just gave us access. Yeah, it pays off, guys. All right, so lessons learned. Okay, you might be the bad guy. And what I mean is, you remember what I was talking about, like people might be upset with you? You're trying to help their organization out. You're trying to make them safer. I'm trying to make stakeholders safer, more secure. Secure your data, right? I want to secure your money. This is your future, your family. We're trying to hold it down for you guys, okay? You come into a meeting and they say, hey, Brice, you broke into our building like we told you to, but you broke some things, right? And usually it's the person whose job is on the line, who didn't know about the test, right? He's in charge of securing the server room. He's in charge of physical security. And you just pretty much threw it in their face, and his boss just said, hey, I hired a company, and it doesn't look good for you, right? So this guy obviously is going to be like, hey, you broke everything. Spoiler, we didn't at all. Like, we didn't break anything. I'm very cautious about that. The reason I bring this up is be careful, document everything you do when you're going through these buildings. If you are a physical pen tester, make sure that you cover your own tail and your company's tail in the sense that you do everything properly, document everything properly, so nothing comes back to you and they try to pull this one on, right? Leadership. When I was first doing this, one of the common misconceptions I had, obviously, is your CEO, your COO, CFO, the C-suite, right? They're at the top of the building, right? All the way up. So if I get a maintenance guy and I'm like, hey, let me in, or give me a badge. As soon as I get in the elevator, boom, top floor, right? Or like somewhere in the middle is like IT, right? IT security, somewhere in there. It's just always how it's been. Came across a building, I go all the way up to the top floor, not anywhere where I wanted to be at all. Their floor was in the middle of the building, okay? And how you know this is it's decorated really nice, right? The CEO's office and floor is always like it's like marble and gold, and then you go to like IT security and there's cockroaches running all over the place, right? So it's like I know what floor I'm on, right? So just saying that whenever you go in there, try to find what it's on here, building directory, right? And that's I'm looking for sensitive data, right? I'm looking for PII, PHI, all this passwords, whatever. But what's really good to have is as soon as you get off the floor, you see that every employee has this directory sitting on their desk, and it tells me what floor everyone's sitting on. It tells me everyone's phone numbers, what their responsibilities are. If I need to get access after hours to something, who I need to call, who I need to email, the email template that I need to give them, right? Oh, man, this is great. I'm going to put this in my back pocket for next year when we pen test them, right? So, and then Google Street View, this is just something silly. But just remember that Google Street View is not up to date. It's not real time. It's not a live NSA satellite feed, right? So if you see that they're doing construction on Street View, just know that probably some stuff's going to change. So take it for a grain of salt. Whenever you're doing OSINT or open source intelligence, look at Google Street View, and then make sure you get on site, get your actual eyes on the building before you start making really big plans, right? Have a plan, be prepared to adapt. All right, frequently asked questions. My wife, she didn't hit me, but she hit me on this. She said, Brice, I love your talk. Everyone loves your talk. Here's the thing. You do this talk, and then people ask these great questions, and then you answer them, and you put the story together or whatever. Here's the thing. You go to another talk, and no one asks that same question, and then it's really good data that you don't give them. So you need to put something in your slides that talk about those questions to answer that for people. So here you go. You can thank her. All right? So what happens if you get caught? Right? That's always a question. First one, hey, Brice, what happens if you get caught? Well, this is what happens. You get what's called a get out of jail free letter, right? This is something that you sign, your company, your leadership, and that company's leadership, you guys sign it. You have a document that you carry around on you physically that if you get caught, you present this to security, whoever it is, to the point where if it's kind of the last measure before cops are called, that's kind of when I bring it out. Or when I would bring it out, I haven't been caught. But that's where you would bring it out and present it. So, now here lately, this slide has changed, right? Because this doesn't work, apparently, right? Anybody hear about this recently? Okay, we won't get into it. But, that being said, if this doesn't work, okay, just understand that your leadership is going to have your back, right? Make sure that basically this doesn't happen to you. Make sure that the statement of work, everything in there is laid out exactly what you're doing. Make sure you do have this letter. Make sure all parties, I think the biggest thing that we can learn from this is all parties understand what's going on, right? If we did a building where basically they had a third-party company. They shared the building. Two companies shared the building. And the company that we were pen testing didn't own the building technically. We had to make sure that the security of the other company knew who we were and what we were doing, because those are the people that are going to escalate it to the police, right? So they had headshots of us. They know what's going on. They know when it's going on. Make sure, like I said, just make sure all third parties, everyone is kind of in the know who needs to be there, all right? Especially the people who might call the cops. Okay? All right. So what are some creative ways you get in, Brice? Okay. What about floors, right? A shared building. This is really great because they say, hey, we got floor 10. If you're trying to do your own startup, you can be right in downtown Chicago and come rent this space. Call up that real estate agent or whoever it is and say, hey, I want to take a tour of this building. That will at least get you past front desk security into the lobby where you have a reason to be there, past front desk security and up the elevator, and then you will learn some things, right? And you might even be able to sneak in a couple buttons or two and try to get on a wrong floor and maybe even just leave the real estate agent behind. Who knows, right? What about if you're looking for a job? This is actually a real threat. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you don't know, now you know. Someone could try to get a job with your company if you have some type of sensitive company, nuclear, financial, whatever. An adversary could try to get a job with your company to be an insider threat, okay? And they could cause damage from the inside. And I will go and actively look to see what positions they have open, to get a job. And then that would get me in the lobby, potentially up. If I want to go see the IT security floor, I'm going to interview with IT security, right? Obviously, make sure you know what you're talking about, but not too much so they don't give you the job. It's like, no, I want to keep working with rendition, trust me. All right, so what happens if you get in? What do you look for, Brice? Look for sensitive information. I look for desks that are open. I look for, obviously, server room, servers specifically. any sensitive data, especially if it's financial. I'm obviously looking for PCI stuff, anything like that, right? And then candy. Around the holidays, you guys leave out some candy canes on your desk, boy, and I'm fat, so I love some candy canes. So, hey, Reese's peanut butter cups, I'm just saying. Everyone leave them out. I'm like the opposite of a tooth fairy. Like, I don't leave anything. I don't leave you $1. I just take your Reese's, you know? So, Brice was here. All right, and then how do you get into this, Brice? How do you develop these skills? I want to be a physical pen tester. How do you do this? What are some of the things I can do? Acting classes, right? Acting classes, improv classes. Start getting into that. Be able to lie, go to a bar, or while you're going through the airport, just strike up a conversation with someone. Try to like make them think you're a billionaire without a private jet or something. I don't know. You know, I mean, just make sure you're comfortable with people. There are some things that can be taught, obviously, but you have to be a specific type of person, a certain personality to do this. But there are some skills that you can develop. Deception, cover, you know, thinking quick on your feet, that kind of thing. All right, and then how to stop me, once again. Spoiler here, this slide hasn't changed at all from the first talk, okay? Because all this stuff still works. And this is the stuff of how to stop me. If it didn't work, it wouldn't be up here. So prevent tailgating. Once again, please, I don't care if you've known John for 30 years and you sit beside him every single day, you tell John to badge in, right? You shut the door in John's face and you say, sorry, John. Actually, 2 guys came up to our booth today, and they're like, yeah, I ticked off some lady. I slammed the door in her face, and I told her to badge in. And I was like, all right, yeah, good job. I was like, I mean, you got to tick off some people to do your job right? Because, I mean, here's the thing. John could have been fired yesterday, and you just let him in. And now John's trying to come in and destroy the company. That's your pay. That's your family, right? That's your customers. And John could try to ruin that. All right? Hide your badges. I love looking at people's badges, especially in the parking lot, so I can make a fake one and come in, right? And I can just show it and walk right in. Don't even need to scan it. Validate all visitors with employees, okay? Make sure if I say, hey, I'm here to see John, or whoever it is, make sure John comes down and actually knows who I am, instead of just saying, yep, go ahead and go up and see John. Police each other. If you're seeing something, like I said, slam that door in that person's face, and then don't provide sensitive information over the phone, guys. This has happened. This is why I'm saying this. Do not give us a login portal and then reset our account that we didn't have and give us domain admin. Yeah, that happened. So don't do that. All right? Questions? You guys like that? No questions? Yes, sir. Ooh, nice question. All right, he said, question is, what is my favorite disguise, and do I like Halloween more than the average person? I would say more than the average person, I definitely do like Halloween. I love scaring little kids, and I have an excuse. Because I own a house, and we got a big old front yard, and it looks scary. I got like Spanish moss coming down. I can't do it this year because we just moved in, but next year I'm scaring some kids, right? Because I did. Like, I got scared as a kid. There was this, anyway. And then what's my favorite disguise? Business casual always works, or whatever that company's attire is, right? I know that sounds like cliche or whatever, but I would say my favorite one is a yellow reflective vest, a neon reflective vest. That will get you in anywhere. You can look up YouTube videos right now of people that got into Walt Disney World for free because I wore a vest. And like literally they're like, hey, I work here, yep, cool. And they're like, yeah. I mean, like, that'll just get you in anywhere. So like, keep one in your back pocket. Like, our CEO just has one. He just keeps it. I don't know why, he just has one. I mean, I know why, don't get me wrong, but he always has one. Yes, sir. Yeah, good question. So the question is, whenever you're doing physical pen testing, are you by yourself, are you solo, or do you have some team on site? It depends on how big the client is, right? If it's a huge skyscraper and there's multiple floors, right? And I know it's going to be kind of a lot of that. I'm going to bring multiple people. That being said, the adversary who has a lot of money, right? Because we're working off the client's budget. But an adversary that has a lot of money that's motivated to get into your building is going to have as many people as they want to use. And why I say that is because if I only have 3 guys, it's like using the same IPs for our hackers, using the exact same 3 IPs, and you can't change them. So if I scan your network with an IP and you see something suspicious going on, now you're going to trigger that IP. In the physical pen testing world, the IP is my face, right? So I only have 3 guys with certain faces. I can only change so much. Shave a beard, cut their hair, put on a hat, whatever it is, until the point that we're all burned, as we call it in the industry, right? Where, hey, I saw that same security guard and he's not letting me in. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yeah. Get rid of them? It's funny, I was going to put a slide in here that said, lessons learned from the client. Your glass doors are really pretty, but they do nothing for your security, right? I can see everything in there, and usually they have the rec sensor on the other side, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know. I see a lot of, yep. You can trigger that thing from the inside. Upside down air compressed can, you can trigger that. I like to use balloon animals. Yeah, the long balloons, you just blow it up and it just skyrockets on through. Trigger that alarm. Move this. If you're going to have glass doors, right? Try to close that gap. Try to see if you can put like a metal strip, right? So that way it can open, but there's not going to be that gap. Magnetic locks. Take away the motion sensor to get out. Use a slat panel that's far away where I can't reach it from the inside, so I can hit escape to leave and then roll out. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes. We haven't personally dealt with it, but I would wear a beard or grow a beard, then shave it, and then do it, and then send another guy in. That kind of thing. Here's the thing: if you become friends with the person that has control to turn off facial recognition, now we don't have to worry about it, right? So one more question in the back, and then I got to go. Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes, sir. So the first gentleman's question over here was, do you deal with facial recognition? And that was my answer for that. And then this other gentleman's question was, are there any industries, financial, healthcare, et cetera, that you try to stay away from? I will say no, to answer your question. We are hesitant, aka I am hesitant, with anyone that has a gun. Right? Anyone that, like, if they're like, hey, or like, it's a compound, there's people with like M16s on their back, I'm like, all right, let's tell them who I am, and then, or let's assume I get past them. I'm not trying to get shot. I don't trust anyone with a gun but myself, all right? So, perfect. Great questions. I don't know who to give this to, guys. Man, this is rough. Oh, okay. Get someone to... you're stripping, sir. You want it in the back? You're stripping. Someone tell me something you learned today. Yes, I saw one hand go up. You, sir. No, come on. Yep. One more time. Love it. Do you want... I saw you lockpicking. Do you have a lockpick set? I saw you lockpicking at our booth. Do you want a Wi-Fi Alpha card? Yes. All right. This is yours. All right. Yeah. Use balloon animals instead of the compressed air. That's a Brice touch right there. Cool. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.